Go.
Hello, my name is Dario Dibattista. I was a corporal in the Marine Corps Reserve from 2001 to 2007. I was pretty eager, enthusiastic. You train for a specific purpose. It was kind of your job, and you kind of get excited that that's your job. Iraq is fundamentally different than anything you do here in the States. Everywhere you go, there's a constant state of alertness. You don't know if somebody you're shaking hands with has a bomb under their clothes, whether there's roadside bombs hidden on trash that you're driving next to, whether somebody's on a rooftop trying to drop a grenade into your Humvee. It's just really hard. It kind of creates this constant sense of adrenaline, fear, anxiety. When you walk outside wherever you're living, usually you'd be in some sort of structure, usually some sort of solid structure, just walking to go use a porta-john bathroom. You know, a rocket could fall, a mortar could fall. It was pretty dangerous all the time. I did civil affairs, which in a nutshell is after everything was blown to shit, it was my job to build it back up. So you think about the fundamental areas of an infrastructure, education, healthcare, power, security, governance, fuel, food, water, all that stuff we would try and assess and reinvigorate. So we'd have weekly meetings with the city council, we'd help train Iraqi police, we'd tour schools to see if they were in need of repair, and then we would hire contractors to fix them. We made sure the water desalination plant worked. We helped build a prison. Did some goodwill stuff like handing out soccer balls and medical supplies. And, you know, we were kind of supposed to be the cultural experts. So when the grunts would go door to door doing what they did, we would be on hand to I guess try and make them more sensitive. You know, the military is like anything else. You have ups and downs. The difference is the military has extreme ups and downs. When you come home from spending 7 months in a combat zone, the sense of like ego and like power and thrill you get is unlike anything that you could really describe. It's really surreal, just how cocksure and tough you feel. You know, and it's a great experience. Like, you survive. That's awesome. Go home and hang out with friends and family and lovers and whatever else. But there's downs, you know. When you lose a friend in combat, it really sucks. I lost one of my really good friends, Sergeant Bill Gear. He was a reporter by trade. He was in the reserves. He went overseas doing civil affairs, and he was shot in the neck and killed. Older dude, joined when he was in his 30s, joined just because of 9/11, and you know, he left behind his wife, who was pregnant with twins. It's really sad.
PTSD is a condition that follows, as the name implies, a traumatic event. What happens is that someone experiences an event, and naturally stress occurs because of the traumatic nature of the event. But that's a normal process. But what happens is that usually resolves within a month or so. But after a month, if people are continuing to experience the conditions that are part of PTSD, then it becomes a disorder, and that's the disorder part, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
No regrets. There was a lot of hardships. It was very, very tough for me to come home. Like a lot of service members, it was really hard to reintegrate. You just come home with like so much adrenaline, and energy and drama in your life, it's hard to just kind of relax and be calm and all that stuff. I came home from overseas in 2004. That was the end of my second deployment. There wasn't a lot of conversation about mental health and what our service members are going through and how that might affect them. It didn't even make sense to me to really, I don't want to say blame it on the war or attribute it to the war. It was just kind of, I thought I was just young and immature, and I was going through like a heartbreak with a relationship. I just thought it was a lot of things like that. It didn't necessarily connect to me that it was because of my service overseas. I knew I wasn't well, and I probably should have sought help, but the military is very machismo kind of organization, kind of environment. You gotta be tough, you gotta be badass, and sometimes it's seen as weakness, or it's usually seen as weakness to go seek help. So I never did, even though I probably should have.
There are several different treatments. One, probably the most common, is talk therapy, and usually this would be cognitive therapy, helping the people who are dealing with this disorder think differently, and then through thinking differently, then they can begin to feel and act differently. A lot of times medication may be involved, usually an antidepressant, something like Zoloft or Prozac or something like that. There's also other types of treatment. For example, there's what's called EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, which is it's an unusual technique where the therapist uses their hand and moves their hand, and the person follows the movement of the hand while they're talking about the event, and that helps desensitize the person and improves their situation.
I work a lot of jobs now. I run a freelance, I manage my own freelance writing and editing career. I run a magazine called 20 Something Magazine. I'm publishing an anthology with a university press about Iraq and Afghanistan veterans and their families and those who care about them, and the coming home experience involving that. I bartend, serve tables, and I teach college part-time at Community College of Baltimore County, and I also teach writing as therapy for service members who have post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Bethesda. The experience made me a better person because I think, unlike a lot of people in America, where generally life is pretty easy compared to the rest of the world, I know that my time here is ephemeral, and I try and live every day to the fullest. It's not just some cliche for me. I have friends who are not alive and would love to be able to have the opportunity to live every day. So I try and live an awesome life for them.